right, you ready? All right, let's do it. So I love making pasta. I love pasta. I make pasta regularly, and you can't eat pasta on Passover, which hurts me, makes me sad. So I developed this recipe for gnocchi, but normal gnocchi has eggs in it and flour. This has potato starch and eggs, which means it's gluten-free, and you can also eat it on Passover, and it's ridiculously easy. So here you go. The great thing about gnocchi is that there are like 3 ingredients, maybe 4. Maybe there are 4. I don't remember how many there are on the, I think there are 4. I think salt is twice. So really it's 3. It's potatoes, it's an egg, it's salt, and potato starch. And then that's it. And then today I'm gonna serve it with a little brown butter that has crispy sage leaves and a little Parmesan. If you are dairy-free, I will just give you plain gnocchi, no problem. A lot of people think, or there are a couple of ways to make gnocchi. One way to make gnocchi is boiling. I don't like that way. I don't like that way because the idea is you want a fluffy, dry potato. So even if you boil your potatoes, you then have to dry them out in the oven a little bit. So I just like get rid of that step. So on this pan, I have that with foil. You have to put foil down, otherwise it will oxidize your pan. I put a bed of kosher salt. Looks just like that. And it's, I think I put like a 1/4 cup per potato, but it depends on the size of your potato. This is a very large potato. And I poke a couple of holes in the potato on both sides, and I pop it on the salt, and I put it in a 425-degree oven until it's baked. So that's, you can go do other things. You could watch your favorite TV show. This potato, which is a 1.5 pounds exactly, took 1 hour and 15 minutes in the oven. But, yesterday and all the gnocchi that you're going to eat later, unless you eat the ones that I make right this second, were made with smaller potatoes. So it doesn't matter what size the potatoes are. They should be sort of uniform in size, and they should measure out, for this recipe, 1.5 pounds. You can double this, you can triple it, doesn't matter. The thing that you have to remember about gluten-free gnocchi is they don't freeze well. So, because normally I make a couple of recipes of gnocchi. I keep them in my freezer all the time. I'm tired when I get home. I don't want to cook. I make gnocchi. You can also put anything you want on gnocchi, like literally anything. Lastly, the trick also to gluten-free gnocchi is you have to let it rest in the fridge because you need the starch to bind it a little bit. If you cook it right away, which we'll cook some that I'll make fresh, they totally work. They're just much lighter and fluffier and not as structurally firm, okay? So I have this lovely baked potato. I'm going to put these silly gloves on. Makes me feel kind of like Mickey Mouse with really big hands. And I'm gonna cut this in half. And I'm gonna scoop out the insides. Now, you don't need a ricer, but this is a ricer, and it has little holes, and you put it in, and you press it through. They're cheap, they're easy to get. I suggest if you make mashed potatoes or gnocchi, you get one of these, or like mashed anything, squash, whatever. It's kind of like a food mill, but it's not as small. Sure, it's not as bulky, but also the holes aren't usually as small, so I get like a little bit lighter and fluffier instead of more mushy like baby food. So I'm gonna take this potato. This is really, it's like making Diane's granola. It's so easy, you're gonna be like, why do I buy this? The other thing that this recipe is really good for is you can, once they're cold and in the fridge, you can saute them. You don't even have to boil them. Like last night, I had a little bit of extra, and I sauteed them in a little olive oil, threw some jarred vodka sauce on it, and it was delicious. All right, so the other thing that you want to remember too is that you want the potatoes warm. They don't need to be hot. You can do it when it's hot, but warm, so not cold. And then I just press it through. It's like magic. Ooh, ah. This also, for 1.5 pounds potato, makes about 4 servings. So it's also super economical. For like $1, I'm feeding 4 people. Well, that's also the great part. So you have these baked skins, which, you order in restaurants all the time. But what I like to do is I keep the skins and I spray them with olive oil and I put them in my air fryer. And they get super crispy, and then I put a little cheese on them, maybe a little sour cream, and what's better than that? So I'm gonna I love potato skins, and I love my air fryer. 2 for 2. All right. So I've gotten all of the potato out. We're gonna need that over here. Then, are you kidding me? Then I have an egg. Let's pretend I have an egg. So it doesn't matter. Let's pretend that there's an egg in here. It's gonna be great. I need 1 egg. Although I have a feeling Mitchell used all the eggs. I know.
Everything was measured out.
It was for your recipe, not for mine. Because you know what? It's okay. Don't worry about it. Let's pretend I put an egg in there. It's going to be great. Now they're going to be vegan. They're not just gluten-free. They're vegan. It's great. I'm going to put a little salt. I'm going to put this container of potato starch. Let's pretend again there's an egg. I'm not going to serve these. Maybe I'll serve them. Let's see how they come out. Who knows? And because I baked my potato and didn't boil it, there's no moisture in there. It's great. Okay, let's pretend that it came together. Awesome. Best laid plans. I was so worried about everyone else's recipes, I forgot about my own. And then what's also really great about this recipe is that you could do it with kids. Kids love it because it's like Play-Doh, except this isn't working. What? Yeah, I know. We're gonna improvise. Check that out. La la la. There's nothing like boiling water on your hands. Oh my God, that's hot. Okay, that's great. Oh look, but it's coming together and it's fabulous. And also what's good is sometimes, depending on where you live, depending on the size of your egg, depending on the size of your potato, you might need a little extra, or you put too much water in it. You might need a little bit of extra. Okay, no one's gonna eat these, I'm taking these off. C'est la vie. I'm kneading it because I'm making a dough. And what's great about gnocchi dough is that it's super forgiving, which is clear because I don't have all the ingredients. And then you sort of roll it out to about, an inch. And then you just cut it. Look at that. Look at all that gnocchi. Now, like the magic of TV, look at all of this gnocchi. So these were made yesterday. They've been in the refrigerator overnight. I cover them with a tea towel. Don't cover them with saran wrap or plastic wrap because they still have moisture in them and then they're gonna get soggy and no one likes soggy gnocchi. So you want them to dry out. I've kept this recipe, not these, but I've kept this recipe in the fridge for a couple of days and I just cook them off.
Like that on the sheet. Okay.
Covered with a schmata. That's it. And then the other thing is that if you've made gnocchi, you might have or pasta or cavatelli. You might have one of these fancy little boards, which you don't need. You really don't, but I brought it because it's fun. And you can roll it and get ridges on it, which once you have ridges on it, it holds sauce a little bit better, but truthfully, I like them just like that. All right, so we have potato, we have starch, we have an egg, we have a little salt. Okay, beautiful. So again, there are a couple of ways to cook this. Oops, that's not on. Let's make that on. Okay. There are a couple ways to cook these. You could certainly, I like to boil them and then sometimes saute them. Sometimes you could boil them and then just sauce them and eat them. Or you can just saute them. Today what we're going to do is we're going to boil them. And then I'm going to sauce them and I'm going to serve them. Okay. So when you boil the potato, it rehydrates the potato a little bit so they get a little puffier. When you buy like store-bought gnocchi and you just saute it, they're usually a little firmer and a little bit more rubbery. If you boil them, they'll get a little bit more pillowy. I love my gnocchi light and fluffy and pillowy, and when I bite into it, it's like a warm hug. But you could also even bake this on a sheet pan with, there are all these sheet pan dinner recipes. These are just really versatile, but you have to make sure that you keep them cold and dry them out for Passover. If you want a non-Passover gnocchi recipe, email me. I'm happy to send you my non-Pesach one. Okay, come on, little boiling water. So you also want to make sure, because these are a little bit more delicate than your regular gnocchi, you don't want to just dump them all in because then they'll basically stick together. You want to sort of put them in a little at a time, and then you can stir them so they don't stick to the bottom. Come on. And then they're done basically when they start to float. They're potato, they're dense things. You need to rehydrate it, and then they'll become floaters, and they'll be lovely and pillowy. All right, I'm going to cook a little bit at a time. This whole tray is 3 pounds of potatoes. From 1.5 pounds of potato, you get about 9. If you cut them this size, you get about 90 gnocchi. It's about 4 portions. This is 180 gnocchi. Oh, they're floating. We're almost done. All right. 1 potato makes 90. So this is 3 pounds of potatoes, exactly, actually, and it made 180 gnocchi. So I have this beautiful brown butter. I'm going to butter it. Because there are way more of you than I thought there were going to be. If we have more and you want seconds, come back. I don't know, they're tasty. There's plenty for everyone. If everyone gets 4, we're going to be okay. But if you want 5, I can't do it. Well, the first few people can come and get gnocchi.